resource of specifically something we call our Wounded Warriors webpage. It's a great resource for military members who return home with injuries. If you are a wounded warrior or wounded veteran, or if you know somebody who is, I would encourage you to check out or let them know about this page. You can get to it on our website. Just go to ssa.gov/wounded warriors. And once you're there, you're going to find information about our Social Security disability insurance benefits, specific information to veterans, including how these disability benefits are different from the benefits that are available through the Department of Veterans Affairs, and how they require a separate application. So sometimes people don't realize that the VA has their own disability benefits and Social Security has ours. So that'll kind of point that out for people and let you know, hey, you do need to file separate applications for them. And then you'll also find information on that ssa.gov/wounded warriors page about how we expedite the processing of Social Security disability applications for service members who develop a disability while they're on active duty on or after October 1st of 2001. And Avery, that's going to be true regardless of where the disability occurs. So that's just a way for us to essentially say thank you to the veterans for their service. And if they need to file for disability and meet that criteria that they developed a disability while on active duty on or after 10/1/2001, then we will expedite their application and make a faster decision. It just really kind of puts them up to the front of the line. We've got some ways we can get records electronically from the VA too that help go a long way towards expediting that. But again, it's just a way that we try to give back and say thank you for the service that these veterans have provided and get them a faster decision. It doesn't change the decision-making process in terms of how one qualifies, but it does allow us to make a decision a little bit faster for them.
So who should apply for Social Security disability insurance benefits? And is there anyone that can't enroll?
Well, one of the things, and this question kind of folds well into the conversation about veterans, because with Social Security disability, essentially if you have a condition that prevents you from working at a substantial level and is expected to keep you from working at a substantial level for at least 12 months or result in death prior to that, then that's when you should be considering applying for Social Security disability. And when I say working at a substantial level, there's a dollar amount that's sort of used as the threshold. We call it substantial gainful activity. In 2022, that substantial gainful activity level is $1,350 in gross wages. So if you're working and making more than $1,350 in gross wages or net earnings from self-employment, and you're fully earning that money, then we may not be able to consider you disabled. In 2023, that threshold is going up to 1,470. And if you're blind, it's quite a bit higher. But for non-blind, those are the numbers that we look at. And the reason I say that ties into our conversation about veterans is, sometimes active duty service members are unable to work due to a disabling condition. But as part of their enlistment, they may continue to receive pay for a while they're in a hospital or on a medical leave. And in that circumstance or in that situation, Avery, it would be advisable, if they think they're going to be unable to work for at least a year, it would be advisable to still consider applying for disability, because we're going to look at whether or not they're physically working in determining whether or not they're earning above that substantial gainful activity threshold. So it's not necessarily just are you being paid, it's are you physically working and earning that money. And there could be an advantage to getting that application filed, because if you can file it when you're first out of work, if you think you're going to be out of work for at least a year, then while that military pay is coming in, that could potentially be your waiting period. So you might be able to avoid a lag in income. If that military pay continues for a while we're working on our decision, then that might go a long way towards keeping a continuous income stream for you. But a lot more info about all that can be found on that SSA.gov site. So again, that's SSA.gov/Wounded Warriors. These pages are very easy to share on social media and by email with your friends and family. So if you're hearing this and you're thinking that someone you know might benefit from this, please take a look and pass that information along to them.
Before, is there anything else that you'd like to add before we move on about active duty or veterans and their disability benefits?
No, those are the main points I wanted to cover on that subject.
Well, moving on a bit, something I find interesting about Social Security is that it's unique from other agencies, federal agencies, in that it's a service for those who are, who are here. But it's also not just a service for, a certain time in your life. You are there. Social Security is there for someone when they're a baby to when they retire. Um, it's just something interesting to me, Jack. What do you make of it?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a tagline that we use where, we say we're more than just a retirement program, that we're with you through life's journey. And you touched on some of the key points of that, Avery. We provide services that assist many families across the country, and they come at all different times of people's lives. They're things at joyous times, such as issuing a first Social Security card to a newborn baby, or a Social Security card in a new name after someone gets married. But then we're also seeing people and helping people during times of hardship and tragedy, such as when people need to apply for disability benefits or survivor benefits because a loved one has died, or maybe it's when a person needs to change a name on a Social Security card due to a divorce. So it's the same kind of transaction, but a very different reason why that's going on. And so there are just a lot of different points in people's lives that they will need Social Security. We, as everybody kind of thinks about, we celebrate retirements too with you. So it's just a good time of year, as we sort of reflect around the Thanksgiving holiday and beyond, we start to kind of think about different things. I just want to let people know that Social Security is thankful to be able to serve you. The past couple of years have obviously been different for a lot of people, and it's just nice that our offices are open again, and it's not new. It's been that way since April of this year. So that part's not really new news. But as we look back at the past few years, I'm thankful that I can tell people, if you need to come into a Social Security office, come on in. You don't need an appointment. Our offices are open 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, except for federal holidays. So you can visit us in an office if you need to. You can give us a call at 800-772-1213, or you can call our local Springfield office at 877-279-9504. And then, of course, you can do business with us on the website at ssa.gov. There's a lot of stuff you can do on the website. It's really a great way to conduct business with us. And I do encourage people to try that first or give us a call. But if you need us another way, if phone or internet doesn't work for you, come on in. We're happy to help you. And as you touched on, there are all different kinds of points in your life where you might need us. And I'm just happy to say that however you want to do business with us, we're here for you.
Well, there are some changes on the way, and part of life's journey, Medicare Part B enrollments. We'll talk all about that here with Social Security Administration Public Affairs Specialist Jack Myers in just a moment, right here on the WTIM Morning Show. Also online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
WTIM. Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and wheat all trading higher at this hour. December corn up 2 1/4, 671. March corn up 2, 673 1/4. May corn 671 1/2, up 1 3/4. January beans up 6, 1463 1/4. March beans up 6 1/2, 1469 1/4. May beans up 7, 14.77. December Chicago wheat up 6 3/4, 7.63.5. March wheat up 6, 7.86 3/4. January bean meal 408.40 down 3.30. January bean oil up 63 cents, 73.75. In the livestock market, January feeders 177.05 up 17 cents. December live cattle down 7 cents, 152.50. December lean hogs up half a dollar, 81.10. In the energy market at this hour, January crude oil up $1.82, 79.06. And I'm Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
I'm Sarah Van Huss, Assistant Vice President at People's Bank and Trust in Pana and Taylorville. People's Bank and Trust is proud of their longtime sponsorship of Taylorville High School Students of the Month on the many News Talk WTIM platforms on AM, FM, and online.
Hi, I'm Kendall Hoy, and I'm a junior at Taylorville High School. My parents are Brandy and Doug Hoy, and I like running track, and I participate in Student Council and Unified Tornadoes. I love running, and I love fashion, and hopefully in the future, I plan to do either modeling or fashion design.
People's Bank and Trust congratulates these Taylorville High School Students of the Month and wishes them the best in their continued education. We put people first at People's Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
The Miller Media Group invites you to help those less fortunate during our 30th annual Food for Families Drive. In Taylorville, bring your non-perishable food items to benefit the Taylorville Food Pantry at 1429 East Main Cross. Tuesdays from 8:30 a.m. till 10 a.m., Thursdays from 5:30 till 7 p.m., and Saturdays from 8:30 till 9:30 a.m. In Pana, put your non-perishable food items in the donation barrels at County Market or at the Food Pantry office at 200 West 2nd Street on Mondays from 9 a.m. till noon or Fridays from 3 to 5:30 p.m. And in Shelbyville, take your non-perishable food items to the First United Methodist Church, 205 West Main, Monday and Thursdays from 10 a.m. until noon only. The Miller Media Group hopes you'll think of those less fortunate this holiday season by giving to these local food pantries during our 30th annual Food for Families Drive. Thank you for caring and sharing this holiday season.
Your information station, WTIM.
It's the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper. Your stream on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com's Facebook and WTIM TV YouTube, brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark. People's Bank and Trust. They put people first. Find those streams online. Or you can go to TaylorvilleDailyNews.com to listen anytime. I have Public Affairs Specialist with Social Security Administration, Jack Myers, on the phone, and he's here to talk a little bit about how there's some enrollment period changes to Medicare Part B. You may or may not know that Social Security handles enrollment to Medicare Parts A and B. And 2023 brings some changes, welcome changes to the start for Medicare Part B and for some of the enrollment periods. Jack's here to tell you about what those enrollment period changes are. So go ahead, take it away, Jack.
Yeah, definitely. So, as you mentioned, we handle the enrollments into Part A and Part B of Medicare. And the way that usually works, Avery, is if a person is collecting, let's say retirement, we're talking age-based Medicare. If a person is collecting retirement or spousal benefits or survivor benefits prior to the age of 65, then they'll be automatically enrolled into Medicare Part A and B, and they'll need to sign up for a drug plan Part D or a Medicare Advantage plan, or, if they want those other types of plans, they'll do that. But the A and the B would be automatic and they wouldn't need to do anything. But if you're not yet collecting a benefit from Social Security as you approach age 65, then you need to get signed up for Medicare Parts A and or B, and you have enrollment period. There's an initial enrollment period, there is a general enrollment period, and there is a special enrollment period. And so those enrollment periods, while they are staying the same next year, the effective dates of coverage, if you do so in the initial or the general enrollment period, are going to be changing in 2023. So I'll touch on that in a moment, but let me just give you a little bit more background on this initial enrollment period. So That one is the one that most people are going to use to get into Medicare Part A and B. It's typically going to be the 3 months before the month you turn 65, the month you turn 65, and the 3 months after. There is a little nuance if your birthday falls on the first day of the month, because we consider you to attain your age the day before. So everything would be moved back a month for you. But just keep that in mind. But with the initial enrollment period, the way it works right now in 2022, if you sign up in the first 3 months of your initial enrollment period, your coverage would be effective the first day of the month you turn 65. If you sign up the month you turn 65, it would be effective the next month. And then if you sign up in the next 3 months after the month you turn 65, it would be delayed 2 or 3 months, depending on when you do it. That's one of the big things that's changing next year. So in 2023, if you sign up in the initial enrollment period, anytime after the first 3 months, before you turn 65, then the coverage will just be effective the month after you enroll. So if you do it in the month you turn 65 or any of the next 3 months, your coverage will start the month after you turn 65. And then another enrollment period is the general. That's January through March of every year. Typically, that's if you didn't take it at 65 and you waited till a future year and you weren't covered by a group health plan based on your own or your spouse's employment. So if you needed that GEP, typically the coverage would start in July of the year you signed up. But starting next year in 2023, the general enrollment period enrollments are going to be effective the month after. So it's January through March each year. If you sign up in January, you'll get it in February. February, you'll get it in March. March, you'll get it in April. So that's a big change. It's a welcome change for folks. And then as we're running out of time here, the last enrollment period is the special enrollment period, and that's not changing. That's the one you would use if you chose not to take it at 65 because you were still working and you were covered by your group health plan, or your spouse was still working and you were covered by theirs. You can use that SEP. It's an 8-month window with no penalty.
That's Social Security Administration Public Affairs Specialist Jack Myers here on the WTIM Morning Show. Thank you so much, Jack.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on, Avery.
Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust. They put people first.